Hello, welcome to session 3 of corporate finance and financial modeling, which is part of unit 4 of which is time value of money. My name is Elias. In this video, we are going to look at the compound interest and as well as the compound interest rate. So far, we have looked at the simple interest rate and the cash flow timeline. In this video, we want to look at what would happen to money if the interest end was also reinvested. Okay, so simply described or defined, compound interest is interest which is added to the original investment every time it accrues. So what we are looking at then is that the money that you invested today will earn interest, and at the end of the investment period, you will have the interest also reinvested. The interest added in one time period will itself earn interest in the following time period, meaning that the total value of an investment will grow over time because you are earning interest on the initial investment, which is the principal, and you are also earning interest on the interest that you accrued from period 1 or say period 2. As such, with compound interest rate, an investment get interest on interest, and this is very key. For example, assume that 500 kwacha is invested for 10 years at 10% interest compounded annually. So if we invest a 500 kwacha for 10 years, and if this interest is compounded annually, then it means that the investment will be getting interest at the end of each year, and the interest accrued at each financial year will earn interest, and that interest will earn interest, and so on until the end of the 10th period. That's why we are saying that with compound interest rate, interest earned in one period will earn interest in the other period, and thus simply described as interest on interest. Let's look at the computation of how this interest is acquired. So what we have is that interest accrued at the end of year 1 will be, so we multiply the investment multiplied times the interest, which is the 10%. So if we do this, we will have 500 multiplied by 0.1 because 10 over 100 is 0.1. And the interest will be 50 kwacha, which means that at the end of period 1, if you invest 500 kwacha at a 10% interest, 10% interest rate, it means your interest will be 50 kwacha. In other words, your money at the end of period 1 will be 550 kwacha, which accounts for the principal plus the interest. So bringing that here, we are saying that this means that at the end of year 1, the investment level will now grow to initial 500 plus the interest of 50 kwacha. This implies that the investment level at the beginning of year 2 will be 550 kwacha. So your investment becomes 550 because you have your initial 500 plus the investment that you got from period 1. So the total period 2 money, which will now be subjected to the interest, will be 550. If we do the calculations for this, it means that at the end of year 2, your interest will be 550 multiplied by the 10%, which is 10 over 100. If you simplify this again, it means your interest will be 550 multiplied by 0.1, and this will simply give you 55 kwacha as your interest. So in period 1, you invested 500, and at the end of the period, you received interest of 50 kwacha. In period 2, you invested the interest you obtained from period 1 of 50 plus the principal of 500, meaning you invested 550, and then at the end of year 2, your interest was 55. This interest is from the 550 which you invested at the beginning of year 2. With this then, this means that at the end of year 2, the investment level will now grow to initial year 2 investment of 550 plus the interest of 55 which you have now obtained at the end of period 2. As such, the investment level at the beginning of year 3 will be the 550 plus the 55 interest, which will give you 605 kwacha. So at the beginning of year 3, your investment will be 605 kwacha. If we obtain the interest at the end of year 3 using our computation, so interest will be the 605 which you are putting in at the beginning of year 3 multiplied by 10%, which is 10 over 100, or simply put a 0.1. So you have 605 multiplied by the 10% interest, which will give you the interest of 60.5 kwacha. So this 60.5 kwacha is the interest obtained from this 605 which has been invested at the beginning of year 3. So at the end of year 3, what you will have is this 605 plus the 60.5 interest which you obtained from the investment. This means that at the end of year 3, the investment level will now grow to initial beginning of year 3 investment, which is 605 plus the interest of 60.5, implying that the investment level at the beginning of year 4 will be 605 plus 60.5, which will be 665 kwacha, 0.5 ngwe. If you are to obtain the other interest, you can do the same. All you need to do is invest this 665.5 at the beginning of year 4 and then multiply it by the 10% to get the interest at the end of year 4. Do the same for year 5, do the same for year 6, all the way to year 9. If we check this, what we will have is, if we are to get the interest in year 10, we will input the year 9. So this part is the amount you have in year 9. So we will invest the year 9 money multiplied by the 10% so that we get the 10% of year 9 investment. If we simplify that, we will have year 9 investment multiplied by 0.1, which will simply give us 117.8974, or simply put, 117 kwacha 19 ngwe. So this is the interest that you are going to earn at the end of year 10. This means that at the end of year 10, the investment level will now grow to initial beginning of year 10 investment, which is 1,178 plus the interest of 117.8974. And if you join these together, it implies that at the end of your year 10, the money will grow to 1,296 kwacha 0.87. So this then means that due to the compound interest that was added to the investment, the 500 kwacha today will grow by 796.87 kwacha. Now this value gives you the gap between the initial principal and the amount that you have now acquired, which tells you that this 796.87 is due to the compound interest rate that you applied to the initial principal of 500 kwacha. As such, this then will bring us to the future value, where we are going to look at today's value and how much that value will be in the future if we apply a compound interest rate. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. If you have questions, please send an email to muauelias@gmail.com. Remember, subscribe to the channel Elias Muau so that you get automated updates when videos on corporate finance are added to the YouTube channel. Bye bye. I'll see you in session 4.